I'll tell you right now.
Your life?
Just get somebody ready, all right? If anything terrible happens tonight, I'm telling you right now, someone else is going to be here tomorrow morning. It's not
no
doing
party?
it.
No.
No, we can't do the party tonight. We got all kinds of things going on. Let's not talk about me. Let's talk about Josh Allen, for crying out loud. And the Bills taking on the Cardinals. Here we go. The Bills were down the entire first half of this game. Kyler Murray played really well. Then Josh Allen started to happen in the second half.
Really good answer in the red zone. Arizona all-out pressures. Matt Collins in the slot with the skinny post. Ball out for a touchdown.
That tied the game. Now, we said Kyler played well, but here's a moment.
Yeah, Greeny, I would say that the Buffalo pass rush started to get going. Gregory Rousseau, Vaughn Miller, that'll be a huge part to this defense again. Arizona down in the red zone. Josh has got an answer, kicks it out to Khalil Shakir on the screen. Touchdown, Buffalo.
And give it to the big fella.
Yeah, let us eat, man. Let us eat a little bit out there.
Spencer Brown gets to spike it off the touchdown. Fourth quarter, Bills up 24-20. Should Josh Allen be doing this week one?
Is he breathing?
Of course.
Oh, my God.
Of course.
It's to go win the game, Greeny, of course.
This is why his left hand is being x-rayed week one.
That's not a problem.
You know what? He should have slid.
And he'll be right back out there week
That's
two.
right, with a boxing glove
By the
on.
way, Kyler Murray had a couple of balls dropped.
Yeah,
at the
late
very
in this
end.
game. I thought Kyler Murray played really well in this football game. 2 late drops, if not for them, might have pulled off a massive road upset.
One way or another, Allen had 4 total touchdowns. Bills were down 14 in the first half. Then Superman
Overrated.
put on the cape. To be clear, he's being sarcastic. In the final 32 minutes of the game, Allen had 200 passing yards and 4 total touchdowns. It's his 4th career game with multiple passing and rushing touchdowns. That ties Steve Young for the most such games in NFL history. Is Josh Allen on his way to being the MVP of the league this year, Rex?
Yeah, he should have been it last year, so absolutely he is.
Yeah, I mean, a spectacular start for Allen.
Yeah, Josh was fantastic. I liked a couple things from this offense. Obviously, Josh's playmaking down in the red zone. We saw 2 of those touchdown passes in his feet. But more importantly, I thought there was a great amount of balance on this offense, the way they ran the football with multiple tight ends on the field. You see the leap touchdown, obviously. James Cook ran it really well. Also, Keon Coleman going to be a guy. Keon Coleman, the way that Keon Coleman did a bunch of different things. One-on-one down on the sideline. I absolutely love that kind of opportunity 50-50 ball. They gave him a shallow cross. He ran on one on a stop route. They've got a big-time receiver. And let me say this, with all due respect, I don't think they're going to miss Stephon Diggs the way that people think, in part because of the way that Keon Coleman showed.
I can tell you this. We do the show with Randy Moss. Randy Moss loves Keon Coleman. The only thing he isn't is fast. If he ran a faster 40, he would have been drafted in the first half of the first round. Bills, so they have won that. They've owned that division since Tom Brady went south. We'll see what happens with the Jets tonight. The Dolphins get a win yesterday. New England gets a win yesterday. Is Buffalo still the best team in that division for what you've seen for one game?
I still think, listen, I'm going to give respect to the Bills because they've owned the division.
Sure.
When you got Josh Allen, we were just talking about it. Josh Allen is one of 3 quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, that can literally put a whole franchise on his back and take a game over. That's it.
He's done it since he got to Buffalo.
Right.
The team doesn't win 3 games without Josh Allen.
Yeah.
I don't think their defense is good enough. I think we're going to find out tonight a lot about the JETSs.
Right.
There's a little reason I got my Detroit stuff, but a little green in this thing.
A little green in that shirt as well.
I'm still a Jet.
All right, we will see. Let me run the hurry up now. Okay, we're going to get to every game, I promise you, on the show today. And right now, let's focus on the second-year quarterbacks, the guys who were the rookies last year. Dan, what did you see from C.J. Stroud in a nice win over the Colts?
I thought C.J. made some huge plays with his legs. The Indy's defense, and specifically their 4-man pass rush, was really good yesterday. Something that we maybe didn't see a ton of last year was C.J. doing a lot of the scrambling, making plays with his feet, the patience and the poise to find an open receiver in the midst of chaos or to go run for a first down was huge for this offense.
Stephon Diggs, who you just mentioned, did have 2 touchdowns in his Texans debut. How about Stroud and the Texans yesterday?
Superstar. I mean, he's an absolute superstar, and he has 3 great receivers.
Joe Mixon. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
If we see that out of Joe Mixon all year, it takes this offense to another level.
Coach, that zone run game in Houston yesterday was cooking.
It's an important win. It's a road win in the division against another good team. So a very big win for the Texans. Let's do the flip side of that. Anthony Richardson for Indianapolis, obviously also second year. Okay. Look it there.
I mean, this ball's a hand cannon.
That's a bad man.
That's impossible.
I mean, that looks like it goes 70 yards in the air. Plus, I mean, falling back, that thing hits the top of the Lucas Oil Stadium.
Yeah.
Unbelievable physical talent. He made some jaw-dropping plays, both through the air with his arm and running the football yesterday. Mountains and valleys, no doubt about it, but some big-time plays.
Let's be real. Colts should have won that game yesterday. They missed two. Anthony A.R. missed 2 touchdown passes yesterday.
To A.D. Mitchell.
Oh, right. Yeah. Like, I mean, but that dude is unreal, has unreal physical ability. Unreal.
Beast.
Yeah.
He's an absolute beast.
It was a fun game to watch.
It was.
I mean, I think Indy's going to make some noise this year for sure.
That might have been the most entertaining game of the day to watch yesterday. It wasn't a day filled with great games necessarily. And then I sort of hesitate as I bring up the last one here. The first pick in last year's draft, Bryce Young. They got shellacked by New Orleans.
Yeah, I'm trying to be really disciplined with not overreacting to what happens in Carolina specific to Bryce this year, but it was a tough watch, tough start. First pass of the season gets picked off, and it seems like a relatively wild miss. His second interception, still a big-time miss, and my concern is that was never a part of his game in college, these egregious misses. I've said it, I'm being real disciplined this year because I don't think it's the proper place for a quarterback to make a big step, but it was tough.
D-Wood, what is that expression?
They weren't even competitive yesterday, Green. You had all offseason, like, you build towards week 1, and then that game was over at the half. It was 30. It was just done, over with. Very, very disappointing game for not only Bryce Young, but the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, and the coaching staff. Like, this is your first game as a head coach. That's your statement? That's your statement?
And I think there's a crisis in Cleveland after 1 week, okay? Kevin Stefanski's offense, scheme-wise, comes from Kyle Shanahan and Gary Kubiak, which is the under-center, play-action pass game, the outside zone. That's how they create their explosive plays. They can't run it and won't run it with Deshaun Watson. And I don't know the exact reason why, but if you watch the game, it's shotgun, it's catch and throw. And the problem is Deshaun, for some reason, is hesitant, got in the football, and just egregious misses. He's going to climb the pocket. Amari Cooper's in the middle of the field there. It's 3rd and 10. It's 2-man. Throw the ball. He's open. You have to make that throw. You are talented enough to make that throw. He's got Elijah Moore on an in route right here. He's going to be wide open in the middle of the field. The pocket is plenty clean. To me, this looks like a guy guiding the football, trying to run the completion to him rather than just cutting it loose. He's going to have a slant. Cowboys are going to blitz off that slot, puts it on Amari Cooper. It's a catch and run, and it might be 15, 20 yards. He misses that by a yard behind him. This one, back's going to go to the flat, to the bottom of the screen. He's wide open. For some reason, Deshaun's working up top, one-on-one. It's a long foul ball, 6 or 7 yards out of bounds. That happened like 3 times yesterday when the ball's 6 or 7 yards away from the receiver. So I think there's a crisis because it tells me Cleveland knows it can't run the scheme that it truly in its heart wants to. And even when they do it, they can't execute it.
So, I mean, we have a real problem here. They looked better with every other quarterback that they played last year. They made the playoffs last year with 4 different quarterbacks. The last of them was Joe Flacco. They looked better basically with all of them than they do with Deshaun Watson, who still has $138 million left on his contract. So, D-Wood, what do we do? What are you seeing in that Cleveland offense?
Green, I'll say this. Deshaun Watson, the whole problem is you can't fool the players. You cannot fool the players in the locker room. Those guys have seen Joe Flacco and other guys come in and execute at a higher level in the exact same system. So you know what those guys in the locker room are saying? You know the guys on the defensive side are saying? Are you guys going to throw us under the bus because this guy's contract? Like, what about us? We're sitting here busting our tail every day, whether it's meetings, practice, preparation, getting ready. And then Deshaun Watson is going out there and throwing that out there. What about the rest of the team? You have an obligation. If you're the Cleveland Browns coach, you got to answer for the rest of the team. Damn the contract. What about everybody else in the locker room?
Rex?
Well, yeah, but I got to say this because it's interesting, and I totally agree with that. I understand where it's coming from. However, this ain't that system. That never looked like
that's the
Kevin
problem.
Stefanski. Yeah, but that's Deshaun Watson's fault that all of a sudden they're not They're not running that system. Last time we saw Deshaun Watson play in that system that we saw all those other guys have success in, he completed 13 passes in a row against Baltimore, leading his team to a victory with a dang bad shoulder. So to me, they decided, hey, look, we're going to go all in on Ken Dorsey offensive system. That did not look like a Kevin Stefanski
at all
system.
But here's my thing, Rex. Even in moments when they do run it, because there were a couple moments where they would get into 12 personnel, 1 back, 2 tight ends, and they go play action, it still doesn't work. The play fakes aren't succinct. He's thrown into double coverage down the field. That's where I sit there and I go crisis, because there are moments when they try to run it and it's not executed well. Then there's moments when they try to do this spread out, catch and throw, whatever. No one in their offense is built to run that. You think Wyatt Teller, who's the best right guard in football, or certainly one of them, wants to just sit there and go pass protect the whole game? But they're handcuffing everybody else. And then also, I'm not naive to reality of, like, the offensive line didn't play well yesterday, okay? Like, Deshaun certainly was under duress. I do think it was attached to the scheme. But there's no plus plays either. There's no where you go, oh, there's that magic from Houston. And it feels like everyone's still holding on to that.
Well, it's a very long time ago, but the reason you hold on to it is because of the things I can put on the screen. Cindy, put up 812 if you would be so kind. This is what Deshaun Watson, no, the other one if you would please, 812 this time. That's the first number we can tell you. Almost half their plays went for 0 yards or worse. But this is what they gave up for him. So, D. Wood, to your point, you're going to go a long way to try and justify this. They traded away 5 draft picks, including 3 number ones. They gave him 5 years, $230 million fully guaranteed, the first of its kind ever. His cap hits in each of the next 2 years are projected to be over $70 million. So the answer to your question, D. Wood, is yes, we're going to fix him or we're going to die trying, because we don't have any option.
Well, you're going to die trying. Then everyone's going to get fired, because that Deshaun Watson that we saw out there yesterday against the Dallas Cowboys. And listen, Dallas Cowboys have a good defense. They're not the 85 Bears, though.
Right.
Like, that guy right there that looked totally inept is going to get your whole regime fired.
And this is
going to get everybody fired.
And we got to also acknowledge the fact that Cleveland is playing with 2 backup tackles, right? Okay, so and again, Dallas can make you look bad. There's no question about it. They're so skillful, man. That Micah Parsons, you haven't seen him since a Lawrence Taylor, all right? So, to me, I get it to a little bit. You're not going to give up on Deshaun Watson right now. I'm just telling you, okay? They're not. They're absolutely aren't.
I understand the contract, but I'm telling you, those guys in the locker room, like, how much longer can they really go if the quarterback is stinking up the joint?
A hell of a lot longer in week 1.
I want to try and get to the bottom of one thing here, because if there's one thing I'm gauging from this conversation, particularly, Dan, between you and Rex, it's you're talking about the player and he's talking about the scheme. Yeah. So is the answer to this, if there is a solution to this, is it in the scheme? Is it in changing what they are doing to make it better suit what Deshaun Watson's skill set is?
I think they're trying to do that.
And it's not working.
And I don't think it's working for Deshaun. I don't think it works for their skill players. I don't think it works for their offensive line. And candidly, I don't think it works for Kevin Stefanski. Do you know how hard it is to go as a coach and you've been groomed and brought up in this type of system and you've developed the play calling skill in that system, and now you're trying to call plays in a completely different system?